I was a kid from Alhambra. I'd never made a record. I'd written a lot of stuff, but you know, I'd never actually done anything but a few demos. I had gone to Jim Messina to make a solo record, and he was producing my record. He had produced Buffalo Springfield last time around, and then he produced the Poco records as well as being in the band, so he had credentials, and I wanted to work with that. In the process of working up my first solo album, he started showing me some of his tunes, and I thought they were great, so we started working up his tunes, and it just instantly became a duo. He came up with the idea of sitting in being like the old jazz records, where two different musicians would sit in on each other's record for a one-record thing. And then when Clive heard it, he said, "No way am I releasing a record of a band that's going to break up." He made us commit to 6 years. There was definitely a chemistry.
You will be like she and me, as free as a dove, conceived in love. Sun is gonna shine above. And even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey, and everything will bring a chain of love.
There was a seasoned vet in my eyes. He was 1 month older than me, so he was my senior. And so I kind of went, you know, show me what you got. What do I do? He taught me how to find a manager, how to get an agent, how to get a record deal. You know, we already had the whole Clive thing sewed up. So I just kind of paid attention. I went to school. When I went solo in '76, I had learned a lot about putting a band together and rehearsing, getting ready for the studio, and I just carried on with that. Jimmy was going through a tough time because his marriage was breaking up at the same time, and so to have the band break up was harder on him. But I was super ready, and I was excited to move into a new direction. Dean and I had written lyrics together, and so he came to me with a screenplay and said, you know, read my screenplay and tell me what you think. In those days, getting a screenplay from a friend in LA, that's not uncommon. I read it, and it wasn't Gone with the Wind, but it was Footloose. I thought, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, let's sit down and write. And he wanted to write a song with me so that he would not only be the screenwriter, but he would also be the collaborator on the music. And that would help him open the door. So as a favor to Dean, I wrote Footloose and Heaven Helps the Man, two songs that ended up being a favor to me. I think one of the reasons it worked was because the music was written before they filmed it, so the dancing that was done to the real music.
Everybody cut loose. You're playing so cool, obeying every rule. Dig away down in your heart. You're burning, yearning for somebody to tell you life ain't a passing you by.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
Good.
Caddyshack was the opposite. I went to see a screening of what they had, and I laughed my ass off. And in the opening of the movie, they had a Dylan song. There's a thing that directors do where they'll put in what's called temp music. I'm All Right came from the idea of getting that kind of Dylan-y thing and that attitude to it. They brought me in at the last minute. Actually, I wasn't the first guy that was supposed to sing that. The way I heard it was that it was supposed to be Toto. The lawyers messed up the deal, and Toto dropped out. Although I did talk to Steve Lukather a couple years ago, and he didn't think that was true, but urban legend. So they dropped out of the project. I was down the street working on a song I'd written called Playing with the Boys. So I asked him one question. I said, is it up-tempo? Because I'd been writing nothing but ballads, and I needed a rocker for my show. And he assured me it was a rocker, so I went in, worked on the writing of the tune, and then went in and sang it. When I made Celebrate Me Home, Bob James came into my life, who's a jazz pianist. He started Foreplay, which is one of the biggest jazz groups in history. But at that time, smooth jazz was basically just emerging as a concept. And so I was working with Dave Sanborn and a number of really great players, the Brecker brothers. And the music sort of evolved. David Foster was writing kind of an R&B thing. He wrote After the Love Is Gone. Yacht rock, it covers everything from that, where smooth jazz merged with pop to where R&B merged with pop. Hall & Oates, of course, was the Philly sound version of that. It was a fun ride. It's kind of coming back in the window a little bit.
It's time I found myself totally surrounded in your circles. Oh, my friends, please celebrate me home. Give me a number, please celebrate me home. Play me one more song.
My record company wanted me to hold still, but I was a moving target. I did Footloose, and the next record I made was sort of jazzy R&B record, and they were really pissed at me. They wanted Footloose Part 2, 3, and 4, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just kept... The problem was, I had two big brothers, and one big brother raised me on folk and country. And the other big brother was deep into R&B and rock and roll. So he turned me on to Hound Dog by Elvis Presley, on into Little Richard and the Coasters, the Del Vikings, you know, on it. And so he took me in that area. So as a kid, I'm 7 years old and I'm hearing all this stuff and I'm absorbing it like a cradle language. So for me, musically, I can go one way or the other. Times change, things change. I think it's the secret to longevity.